I had already had a situation when I was like 17 where they like put me out of high school and brought me down to Miami and put me in the studio. You know, I met DJ Khalid and all that stuff when I was like 17, and he listened to my music and he felt it. So I was already confident enough at that point.
All right, Hollywood Theater, Vancouver, BC. We're outside right now, Hip Hop 50 with Tre Nyce. How you doing tonight, man?
Good, man. I'm feeling good. How you doing?
I'm doing real great, real great. Okay, you came off stage originally with Shaylen D, and then later on you were brought back as a guest once again with the legendary Rascalz crew. I want to ask you first and foremost, before we get into some history right here, some of the acts that you started working with in the last couple, like 5 years, like such as Rollo the Pimp, General Fly, and Shaylen D. How did you originally connect with some of these guys, and what was it in them as artists that made you want to work and collaborate and build with them?
I mean, get a start with General Fly. I was out in Dago, San Diego, and we were doing work. My boy Fetty Slaps, he put me together with him. Fly had a studio. He had a thing he was running called Honey Club, still going to this day. And basically his leadership was just top shelf. I thought that what he was doing was the right thing, and I could see where I could fit into that and where we could make it work. Kind of the same type of mind. He's more mature than I am, so he's showing me shit, but we kind of had the same type of mindset, so it was easy to get with that and do what we did. And then he introduced me to Rollo a couple of summers ago in Dallas, as well as my man Bud Beats. Bud from Memphis 10, shout out to my boy. So, you know, that was really cool, making that connection and just seeing that even though I'm from all the way up here, there's so much similar. They're all the way in Dallas, Texas, and it's real similar. So it was all relatable. And then Shaylen, I've known her for a very long time. We from the same neighborhood in Coquitlam, Millardville. So we've been knowing about each other or knowing each other or having the same friends probably since like 13. One of my homies from a long time ago. So once I seen she started rapping, I was all for it. I was whatever I could do to help her, still to this day.
I great. Okay. So right off the bat, I want to say, how do you feel about your performance so far tonight? And I want to ask you specifically, when you look at the lineup, there's been a little bit of controversy and debate as to whether or not, you know, specific acts should have been on and should have not been on. But at the end of the day, how do you feel it meant to you to be able to be included onto this?
We're not going to be able to fit everybody on. Like I said, I feel like you can't really tell the story of hip-hop in Vancouver without saying my name. So I got to be here, even if it's in a small capacity. Like, I feel like politically, whatever you want to say, it would be wrong of me personally not to be here. For other artists that, like, you know, they got more plays or they got more of this or they got more of that, just got to keep working and also not let this type of thing mean more than what it is. Like, it's symbolic, but it's not. It doesn't mean that this is who's the best at hip-hop in Vancouver. That's not even it at all. So people can't even think like that. It's just time to use it as motivation in every way. I've seen plenty of people have all types of opportunities that I'd love to be on the stage. I know what I do. You see what I do on the stage. You know what I mean? So I know the energy that I bring. I fuck any crowd up. So it's all cyclical, you know? Sometimes this person gets something, you don't. Another time they get something, or you get something, they don't. So it's going to come around. Just keep working.
Great. We love how everything comes around positively in the world. Thank you very much, Tre Nyce. I want to say, since this is a Hip Hop 50 event, since it's a history event, I want to ask you about a specific group and a specific movement that was quote-unquote by some great people as the strongest movement out here in Vancouver, BC. I want to ask about the importance of what it held to you in your life when you originally met people like Heatwave, Illy the Don, Ill Kid, Faisal Starz, Jay Worthy, and Jay Gunna Blaze, and formed the Block Starz and whatnot.
Well, Jay Gunna, that's my god brother. His mom and my mom, his mom was my godmother, so he knew me before I was born. He's older than me. Ill Kid, that was through Heatwave, was always a real solid dude. He brought me to Ill Kid's house, and Ill Kid had a studio in his crib. We were like young. Heat had played basketball, and we had a homie named Status, another boy named Deli. Shout out to both of them. Status had a crew. It was called Block Starz. They were based out of South Central LA. He came up here. He put me on. He showed me what it was about. I freestyled for them. You know, they were like, this nigga nice. Let's put him on. Black leaders overcoming criticism with the knowledge to succeed through all restrictions. That's what Block Starz means. So I liked what it was about, especially being a young black kid in a town that didn't have a lot of people that looked like me at the time, and needing something to identify with, and being able to have that as a kid is priceless. So shout out to Heatwave, shout out to my man John Hughes, shout out to Jay Fresh. It's too many niggas really, but shout out to everybody, man. You guys know who you are, my nigga guys. Great. And I want to highlight, consider this a privilege by Edge One, now known as PNWRK, your original first feature on a hot tape release, because you came up in the mixtape era when you emphasized something to me originally earlier tonight. There's two different types of underground, and you were from a different set of underground, and you came up in a different breed, in a different era in Vancouver, where people were slanging mixtapes on Granville Street, hustling, moving hard, and making money
money going wood in the hood and whatnot. So I wanted to ask you specifically what was importance of people like Central Soul, their camp, people like J-Kin and PNWRK and Webb and those guys, and what they did to help provide for you during that mixtape era and what it felt like recording at that time.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So those guys meant a lot to me, still do to this day. Justin Jung to Edge One. Edge was just like a very humble and selfless human being who allowed a 16-year-old kid to rap on his mixtape. And he was, you know, grown at the time. He didn't need to do that for me, but he did. And it was a great thing, and it helped put me on and build awareness. And Justin Jung, you know, that studio was his, and once again opened his doors up to me and allowed me to pursue my shit. And it was an amazing thing. You know, he had me taking the 160 from Coquitlam Center. As a kid, there was no SkyTrain back then, and it went down to Vancouver. It was in Pigeon Park. You already know, you're like 16, you're getting off the bus. The bus driver don't want to let me get off the bus there. He's speeding past it, dropping me off on Canby up higher because he don't want me down there. And eventually he got used to it and realized that I wasn't doing that, what he thought I was. I was in the studio rapping. It was cool. It worked out.
Much love to Central Soul, much love to Block Stars. Okay, so I wanted to ask you specifically, because we had Hip Hop 50 right now, what was it like, because this is something I grew up seeing, when you joined up with KC and we saw you guys coming up in the videos, connecting with Self-Hire, saw you finally connect with the Rascals, the legendary Rascals crew in their camp, and you saw the connection between all you guys, Heatwave, you, shout out to people like Faisal, Kaz, Jay Gunna, they were all in the studio together with people like Checkmate, Concise, you know, shout out Defenders, shout out Rascals crew. I wanted to ask you, what was like when you first got in the studio with these types of OGs like Rascals and Checkmate and Concise?
I had, like, originally, I had already had a situation when I was like 17 where they like put me out of high school and brought me down to Miami and put me in the studio. You know, I met DJ Khalid and all that stuff when I was like 17, and he listened to my music and he felt it. So I was already confident enough at that point to do what was necessary. I don't know, it's all kind of been a blessing in disguise. I don't know, run that question back again. There was a couple parts in there that I wanted to answer properly.
All right, well, I want to know how specifically it felt to get in the studio and finally touch bases together with the Rascals and Defenders and whatnot.
Yeah, okay, so I had to go in there and prove myself. Kemo had heard about me, but he didn't really give a fuck. I went in there and I rapped 32 bars off the top of my head over this beat that they had with Capone from Capone and Noriega. It's called I'm About $1. I did the hook at the same time too. By the time I finished my verse, Kemo was like, yeah, you can do whatever you want here. So after that, it was pretty much over. And then I did a song with Red One. We were just laughing about that in the back because he reminded me, because I was like, boy, we don't even have a song together. He's like, oh, you don't remember you came by my house and did that song? So like, I do remember that. Defenders of the Faith has just been like, as I've gotten a little bit more mature in my game, going back in and reconnecting with Checks and Sice and just, you know, getting that veteran guidance and doing what I do, just making the most of it. So it's always been that. It's always been just like believing in myself, knowing that I can hang with anybody, and just proving it every time I step on the mic.
All right, awesome. Second to last question right here real quick. We noticed a nice interview cameo appearance you made on Coffee and Banana, where you made a highlight detail that you kind of leaked out and released, and it's kind of caught wave and traction for a short period of time last year on Instagram. And we knew that you performed Real PI, which was a really important song for you in your career. I was wondering if you and Cash would ever work together again, because we heard that KC, you guys are willing now to come back together.
Yeah, no, it's just a matter of timing and just how things go down. Just let things happen naturally, but you never know what could happen in the future. You know what I mean? I'm always open to it. Things have changed from that perspective for sure. I'm open to it. It's just a matter of making the schedules work and seeing what happens.
All right, lastly, just to wrap up everything real quickly right now, what do you got for the updates for the people coming out?
Man, I'm working quietly, but I'm working viciously. You're going to see soon enough. I'm working real hard. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, thank you very much, LocFiles Media. We signing off real quick.